Welcome back, folks. It seems that everybody with the Coleman Lantern restorations have their own take on how they hold down or clamp their lantern. There's a number of good ones out there. I just didn't have access to any of them. So I'm going to go through my evolution of designing a clamp or mount for the Coleman Lantern fount to keep it steady while doing restoration work on it. Welcome back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the type of mounts that I've tried to design, or clamps, for the fount on the Coleman Lantern and the different iterations that I've gone through. So I'm going to go through about 3 different iterations. The first one started with this here, and it was an utter failure, but tell you a little bit about the design. The idea is that each one of these kind of flanges would fold up with some sort of squishy material on it and fold against the fount. And to hold those all in like that would be a ring that would press down on it. And so I'll see if I can find some video from the episode where I used this, designed it and used it, and it absolutely didn't work at all. And so I'll see if I can find some footage for that. All right, so we'll call that version 1. It, like I said, didn't work very well. Had trouble with the hinges and the fact that it didn't actually clamp down. So version 2 was a little bit more dynamic. You can see here, it was pretty flat with a whole bunch of slots in it. And just like version 1, it did have a bar on the back to sit down in the slot on the table saw. But this one had a whole bunch of individual kind of fingers that slide. And so they fit into the slot here. And they have 11 of those little things. And they're all designed so that when they're in the slots there, you put a hose clamp around these and you tighten it up with a little bit of rubber material or something like that to go against the fount itself. And that way it's distributing the pressure around it, and it's a very solid method to hold on to it. This worked rather well. The only trouble with it was that this being version 2, it didn't have a good way to keep the little fingers, and a lot of times they would fall out, and because this was so shallow, they didn't really stay in very well. So version 2, we then had an upgrade to version, we'll say 2.1. And so this was version 2.1. It was a little bit better because all of the individual pieces are kept now, the little fingers, they're kept in these slots. I also designed it so you can see in the inside here that these individual rings are designed for the different size Coleman lanterns so that they will sit and center properly. The only issue I had with this one, and it wasn't really a big issue, was that you had to make sure that you slid all these little guys out to get the lantern in, and then again to get it out. I also made this a little bit too tight, and so it turned out that the diameter of the base of the fount was exactly almost this diameter, so it was just a little bit too tight. And I could have probably done a version 2.2, which had this be a little bit just larger in diameter, and that would have solved that problem. Same thing, it had a bar that went into the slot on the table saw, so version 2.1. But as any good designer does, we strive for perfection, or at least to the point where we've gotten something that's clever and hopefully that it works. So let's take a look at version 3. So in my mind, I kept thinking there must be an easy way to kind of synchronize all the fingers so that they go in and out, and you don't have to fight with them when you're ready to put the lantern in or to take it out. So version 3 here, I also did it kind of in the Coleman colors with the red, the green, and some of the white. Version 3 is a little bit more complicated, so when you look at the back, you can see all the swirl patterns in there that help this work. And so let me show you how that works. Here's a closer look at version 3. It's basically designed so that it synchronizes all the fingers going in and out. So you can take the red part here and give it kind of a quarter turn, and you can see that the fingers move in and out. It's a pretty easy design to assemble and how it functions. It's not designed to hold the lantern or clamp the lantern with this, but merely to put the lantern in and then close it down. And then it still uses a hose clamp here to clamp down once you've got it set. All right, so I'll give you a quick shot of what it looks like putting the lantern in so you can get an idea about that. Take your lantern. See, it's a little bit too tight now, so you can open it up. Set it down in. I use this to go around it. Then you can tighten up the fingers here. Once they're good and tight, you'd go ahead and have this around there and tighten down on the hose clamp, and it tightens down right around here and gives it a really good method for grabbing the lantern. So version 3 works pretty good. Still has a few kinks to work out. Version 2 is super reliable. I like that one probably the best. I found it a good challenge, though, to try and design this one, the version 3 with the adjustable synchronized fingers, and I liked the color scheme of that too. But everyone has their own ideas and the best ways to clamp these lanterns, and there's all sorts of good ways out there. This is just one of the things that I came up with so that when I do my restorations, I have the ability to hold the lantern tightly. My printer hard at work cranking out parts for the latest Rev 4 of my lantern holder. This was a quick one, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll go ahead and put a subscribe over here. And just for you to see one of my restorations, I'll put the link over here to one of the restorations of my 228 lanterns. All right, stay tuned for my next video coming up soon, and have a good one.